Yeah, and Christian, they look absolutely stunning. There we have Mr. and Mrs. May walking down through the guard. So we assume that President Trump is just moments away from pulling up. Is he pulling up in the Beast in front of Blenheim Palace? Do you know, Christian?
Well, the Beast is certainly here because we saw it go past us earlier today down the A44. It was brought in 6 hours ahead of the President's visit. So I would imagine, yes, he is being transferred in the Beast. Remember back in Singapore that Kim Jong-un took great interest in this 7-seater limousine. He'd never seen anything quite like it. It's bomb-proof, it's chemical attack-proof, and it's the sort of thing that keeps the President safe wherever he goes. Let's bring in Phil Mackey, who is there at the palace. We're looking at Theresa and Philip May. Philip, and can you see how he's being transferred from the helicopters?
It looks like, as you said, the Beast. It's got its headlights on because the sun is beginning to set now, certainly sinking behind some clouds. It's about a quarter of a mile away down the Grand Drive leading up into the courtyard. So you've seen the pictures there of the Prime Minister and her husband Philip May. They are now awaiting the arrival. I can see that the limousine itself is still parked. I can't see any movement in the distance there to see whether or not the President is on his way. This is running a little bit late, I think you probably noticed, Catty and Christian. We were expecting this to have happened a good 15 minutes or so ago, which means that all the VIPs, members of the Cabinet, the business leaders have had to stand there for about 20 minutes. It's not a cold evening by any means, but nonetheless they'll probably be getting a little bit fed up of waiting for the President. But we have also seen the American press corps arrive in minibuses a short time ago, just in time to witness this scene, which will look rather spectacular, I think, because it does look absolutely stunning. Looking down that long drive towards where the President's limousine is currently still parked, I'm afraid to say, and beyond that the statue of the Duke of Marlborough, who built or had Blenheim Palace built for him thanks to a gift from the nation after his success in the Wars of the Spanish Succession just over 300 years ago. Lots of lenses, long lenses pointed in that direction, but still no sign, I'm afraid, of any movement from the limousine. It looks like the Prime Minister and Philip May are going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah, if I'm the number 10's communications shop or the White House's communication shop, I'm giving myself a pat on the back this evening with these images because they are spectacular. The lighting, look, there you go, the Prime Minister and her husband Philip May also colour coordinated with the guardsmen all standing there. It couldn't look more perfect for them, could it, Phil?
It's absolutely stunning, and if you think about it, this isn't an official state visit, so what better place to come than the only non-royal palace, and the only palace not either owned by the monarchy or by the church. So this is the only other palace that could come, but you still get this magnificent Baroque palace, beautiful landmark, well known throughout this country, absolutely there with the massed bands of the household division standing to attention, ready for the arrival of the President. It's just exactly what Donald Trump wanted. And it's probably as close to a state visit as you could have. In fact, the four trumpeters, the state trumpeters of the Household Cavalry, are only ever deployed for royal, when the royal family is present or when there is a head of state. So again, you know, it's just about state visit, except it's not happening at Windsor Castle, and there isn't even more pomp and circumstance. But I suspect for the American audiences, this is plenty enough.
As we just wait for the car, we should just spell out what's going to happen tomorrow, because the meat of the visit, of course, is tomorrow. So in the morning, they're going to go to a military base to see a joint exercise between US and UK special forces who have worked together before tackling Islamic terrorism. And they're going to be given a show tomorrow when they go to that. And then in the afternoon, they're going for lunch at Chequers, the country residence of the Prime Minister, of course. And while they're there, there's going to be substantial talks, not only about trade, but also about security as well. And presumably that is where they're going to be talking a lot about the trade deal. And I would suspect that there'll be senior members of the cabinet there, maybe even Dominic Raab, who is, of course, the new Brexit secretary, new to the job, but very important in not only what is going on with Europe, but also with the United States. And there you go,
so,
you can see
we
the
now
beast
have
coming
the
up the
pictures
hill
of
to the palace.
You're seeing it too. Yeah, the pictures of the beast coming up the hill. I was just starting to think that they were making the Prime Minister wait a little uncomfortably long before they actually turned up. But here, look at that, the beast roaring over the horizon into the courtyard at Blenheim Palace with the British and the American flags flying, the president inside. If you want a projection of power around the world, there are a few better ways to do it than to turn up in this particular car.
And James, while we're watching this, he's going to see the Queen tomorrow. How many of the presidents has she met? Do you know? I mean, I think there's only one, am I right? LBJ that she didn't
She
meet.
certainly didn't meet Lyndon Johnson, but she has, I think, a remarkable track record going right back to Dwight D. Eisenhower, the Kennedys, the Reagans, the Clintons. She has met American presidents going back throughout her entire reign. There's no doubt about it. Some people are rather apprehensive about this meeting, but the Queen, of course, has a great track record of being able to put up with very, very difficult visitors, not least of which is Donald Trump, of course.
Yeah, so the president just getting out. As driver there. These are, of course, the special service personnel who are just going to...
It's important to note, this car cannot be opened from the inside. The car can only be opened from the outside. It cannot be opened from the inside at all. It requires someone to stand outside and actually open the door. So heavy is it, designed to withstand all kinds of assault from the exterior. It is effectively a tank that looks like a car.
Donald Trump coming outside to greet Theresa May, the First Lady Melania Trump coming around the side of the car to greet the Prime Minister and Mr. May as well. Friendly smiles, although it has been perhaps a little bit of a difficult day in terms of what Donald Trump has said about Boris Johnson, about Brexit, about the government's new plan for Brexit. But at the moment, all smiles, and it looks like Philip May is pointing out some of the finer points of Blenheim Palace there. James, how many American presidents have been to Blenheim Palace?
We don't know. Do we know how many presidents? I think he's the first, is he?
He might well be. Certainly, it's a remarkable opportunity for Blenheim Palace to show itself off. And I think what's interesting here is you're seeing all the facets of the special relationship on display: the heritage, the history, the trade talks that are going to be going on, the joint military exercise tomorrow that are going to be witnessed by the President and the Prime Minister before the meeting at Chequers. If you want to understand the special relationship, look no further than the itinerary for this meeting and this trip, I think, by the President, which I think encompasses every single element of that relationship, which is going to continue irrespective of who the President or the Prime Minister is at any one given moment.
And there they go, up the red carpet, up the steps into Blenheim Palace. It's quite interesting. There was just a little shot there where he held a hand. We remember the shot of them holding hands at the White House. Let's just listen to the anthems which are about to play.